From a young age, you've been programmed. You've been told, go to school, get good grades, go to college, and get a job. You were told that this path is the only way to success, but it's clearly not. You weren't told about how money works. You weren't taught how to build wealth. You were programmed to follow rules, meet deadlines, and memorize facts. You were never taught how to think for yourself or how to question authority. The education system was never about unlocking your full potential. It was about training you to become a worker, to be a slave to the system. Most people do not realize this, and even when they do, it's already too late. They're already trapped in debt, burnt out, and stuck in the rat race. The education system isn't broken. It's working exactly as it's designed to. It's consistently producing obedient workers who are too burnt out to question anything. Let's talk about the system and how you can potentially escape. The modern-day school system was built during the industrial age. It was designed to create factory workers. That's why everything in school is structured like a job. School bells, uniforms, lining up, schedules. You weren't trained to innovate or to question. You were simply trained to comply. You were taught to raise your hand before you speak, ask for permission to use the bathroom. It's not education at all. It's about control. The goal was to produce obedient employees, not free thinkers. That's why creativity is punished. That's why entrepreneurship is never mentioned. You were never taught about finances. You were never taught about learning valuable skills. And you were never taught about the importance of business. You're rewarded for memorization, not understanding. Most teachers don't even realize they're part of a system that's designed to suppress ambition. They lied to you about success. You were told that getting good grades would make you successful. It doesn't. Some of the richest people on the planet were dropouts. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, the list goes on. Real success doesn't come from textbooks. It comes from taking risks, solving problems, and thinking differently. You were told to get a stable job and a house with a mortgage was the dream. For most people, it's a trap. You were told to avoid failure at all costs, but failure is where all the growth happens. You were taught that money is evil, that rich people are greedy. You were told to save money, not invest it. You were told to play it safe, which keeps you dependent. True success is built outside of that system, not within it. The system needs you to be average. It needs you to conform. If too many people become wealthy and independent, the system collapses. That's why ambition is quietly discouraged. That's why debt is normalized. Student loans, credit cards, mortgages. Most people stay trapped in this loop until retirement. You're trained to obey, consume, and stay busy. They keep you distracted so that you never wake up. The news, pop culture, even social media, all of it reinforces the same narrative: fit in and don't question. But once you start to question it, you can never unsee it. Real education begins when you realize how much of a scam the system is, and you begin to teach yourself. Learning how to invest, learning how to build the skills the system ignored, learning how to leverage the internet, not just to scroll through it, understanding how money works, understanding interest rates, fractional reserve banking, and how we operate on a system of debt. School has to avoid teaching these things, because if too many people know the truth, the house of cards will come falling down. You need to learn to think critically and independently. You need to learn to block out the noise. You should be reading books outside the curriculum, listening to podcasts, and watching interviews with real entrepreneurs. Real education is uncomfortable because it challenges what you thought you knew, but it's the only way you can grow. The popular term these days is to break out of the matrix. It was popularized thanks to a bald-headed cigar-smoking influencer a couple years ago. You need to start by questioning everything you were told about success. Don't assume a 9-to-5 job is the only way to live or the only way to make income. It might be secure, but it's not freedom. You need to look into starting a side hustle. You need to learn how to make money online, whether it's crypto, or other assets. You need to stop asking for permission. Take action even before you feel ready. Protect your time. Cut out distractions and people who hold you back. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to be consistent and intentional. You need to replace entertainment with education. Instead of listening to music while you drive, listen to an audiobook. Instead of watching movies, sign up for a course. You also need to focus more on producing rather than consuming. If you're doom scrolling TikTok for 3 hours every day, instead of scrolling, you should be the one making the TikToks. If you're playing games 8 hours a day, you better be streaming on Twitch. If you're addicted to scrolling Instagram, you better be starting an Instagram page, whether it's photography or an anime fan page, whatever it is. Your freedom begins when you realize you will never be free if you simply follow what you've been told your whole life. The majority of people never question the system. They live their whole life on autopilot and simply do what they've been told. They simply follow the rules without thinking for themselves. If you're watching this video, you're different. You've already started to wake up. Don't waste that awareness. Use it to change your life. Escape the endless cycle. Build something real. Invest your time and your money wisely. School taught you how to be average, but it's your job to unlearn everything and to break free. They lied to you about success. You need to define success on your own terms. To be fair, this old system worked in the past. In the 1900s, a simple mechanic was able to buy a house and buy a car, while the wife stayed at home and looked after the kids. Even within that old system, you could live a decent life. But unfortunately, the world is changing fast. With the rise in technology, the rise in AI, more and more people are being made redundant each year, more jobs are disappearing, and it's not going to slow down anytime soon. Everything is so expensive these days. Wage increase has never kept up with the true inflation rate. House prices have increased exponentially, and grocery prices seem to go up every month. It's hard just to get by, and even harder to build wealth. These days, even when the husband and wife are both working professional jobs, life can still be pretty difficult. A 9-to-5 job just isn't as secure as it used to be. If you rely purely on everything you've been taught since you were young, you're just setting yourself up for failure. You're going to stay poor, and you're going to stay dependent on the system. You need to break free before it's too late. Anyways, that's it from me today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like. Let me know in the comments down below what are your thoughts about education. If you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe and follow the channel. I'll be uploading more soon. As always, thank you for watching and take care.